Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, G. Good morning.
Dr. Abati. How are you this morning? Good morning. You good?
Yeah.
Showakpa. Good morning, our favorite Niger wife. How are you this morning?
I'm great, and yourself?
Calm.
Yes.
I did. Good morning. How are you this morning? Yes.
Morning.
Rufy on fire.
Morning.
Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. Well, there's been reactions after former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amaechi, after he dismissed his ongoing feud with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, stating that he does not respond to children. Amaechi's comments came after Wike's recent criticisms, where he accused Amaechi of being hungry for power. Amaechi spoke to Charles Anyagolu on Arise Prime Time. He also mocked Wike's perceived self-made image, stating that Wike made himself chief of staff, made himself governor, made himself minister, and made himself local government chairman. Let's take a look.
That man that says he made governor, how did you make this man governor?
Right.
Nobody has ever asked that question. Two,
So how did you become governor then?
I don't know. I went to court. Latif Pabemi is my lawyer. He's not the attorney general, so you should ask. So that's one thing that needs to be made very, very clear. Two, it is not true that I'll call him Mohammed Bello Adoke flew all the way from Abuja to Port Harcourt. That Wike asked me to make him commissioner for finance, and I said no. He has to work under me. I want him as chief of staff so I can supervise him. I didn't offer him commissioner for finance. You see, I'm saying this because I don't want to join issues with children.
Sure.
I don't want to join issues with children.
Violent. Rufai will say violent. I don't want to join issues with children. I actually heard you this morning say, no, that's not true. Wike is not a child.
He's not a child.
But I'd like for you to address, some of the comments he made right there, trying to give us the background history of how Wike got into power.
Well, he was just saying basically that he was somebody that he employed. Well, I don't know whether he should refer to him as his personal employee, because in the recent, if you construct it, Wike as chief of staff to the governor was invariably serving the people of Rivers State. It was government. It was Rivers State government, not, working for Amaechi in his personal capacity. All of them were serving the state. But he made a point about appointment. Usually when people are looking for appointments, when they know that this man is going to win, they will start lobbying. So, and he said that, well, Wike was interested in the position of Commissioner of Finance, but that he thought he should make him chief of staff so that he will be able to supervise him. And I said, saying this man is not good enough for Commissioner of Finance, let him be his chief of staff so that I can supervise him. It's a very mischievous innuendo. I don't want to explain the nature of the innuendo. Other people can stretch it out.
Explain.
I say it's an innuendo.
Litigation. Explain. You're a lawyer.
Yeah, well, it's an innuendo. Let's leave it at that. In other words, anyway. But he also says, he would rather not talk about Wike, because you see that throughout that interview, he didn't mention his name once. He said, I don't want to join issues with him. It's beneath him to be expanding insults in the public space with somebody who once served him. And he made a point about character, which we were saying yesterday, that, look, this man never acknowledges anybody that ever did him a favor. In other words, he was saying, this is just, a transactional character. He will use you, dump you, move on. If it is convenient, he comes back to you. And then he addressed the issue about, how he became governor. And he said it was God, it was the judiciary, it was Sir Peter Odili, and then the people of Rivers State. But I said earlier that he raised more cogent points beyond his, a thief with Nyesom Wike. The point about the fact that he wants the president of Nigeria, President Tinubu, to give a proper accounting with regard to fuel subsidy savings. There are people who have been saying that. And I said President Tinubu has explained that states have more money, debts have been paid, but perhaps, greater transparency that he's asking for. Maybe nobody can argue about that. He says INEC is not above board, and that political coalitions are finding it very difficult to register political parties and the conditions, and he compared the President INEC chairman to former chairman Maurice Iwu. 3, he said that this government does not respect the rule of law. But specifically, he was talking about the situation in Rivers State with regard to the declaration of a state of emergency. But we saw Governor Fubara, visiting in the spirit of Salah celebrations, the president of Nigeria. And I was imagining that this should be an opportunity for him to further plead with the president that the 6 months should not extend beyond 6 months, particularly now that the sole administrator is behaving as if he wants to sit tight.
That's where I'm going. Let me take that story then you can. But, I mean, that was a good interview with Charles Anyagolu. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I advise our viewers to watch it on our YouTube channel. Well, in the meantime, reactions have trailed the visit by the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, to President Bola Tinubu at his residence in Lagos on Tuesday. The visit comes less than a week after Fubara stated his intention to put aside pride and personal interests to restore peace in Rivers State and reconcile with his predecessor, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, whom he refers to as his boss. The details of the meeting were not immediately disclosed. This is their first public meeting since President Tinubu declared state of emergency in Rivers State on March 18th and suspended the governor. Well, let's take a look at some reactions. This is from EJ Tweet. Found this reaction funny. He says, "Is Governor Wike aware?" Is Wike aware, the minister? Well, politicians will always do political things. I made videos calling for the illegal suspension to be lifted. And Fubara is smiling with Tinubu. Politics is just a game. Good luck to both of them, Rivers and Nigeria. Well, Emeka wrote, Governor Fubara's Lagos visit to President Tinubu hints a strategic move amidst Rivers State's political storm, with Wike's shadow looming. Fubara might be rethinking alliances. Sometimes in politics, if you can't beat them, join them. And you know that we saw a lot of these comments online. When we saw that picture, we're like, hey, state capture. I mean, those are some of the comments. But your thoughts on the visit by Fubara?
You know, earlier in the program, I said, for me personally, I thought the optics were unfortunate because this is an elected official.
Yes.
And, you know, we know that the assumption around it is that he's going to beg and plead. Mm-hmm. Now, if you remember in the month or so leading up to the state of emergency, the president had said that Governor Fubara should just stoop to conquer.
Yes.
That had been his very decisive advice to him. And well, we see he's finally taking the advice and it's bearing fruit. And it's unfortunate that, you know, politicians will always do what it takes to stay in power or to claim power. It's around power. And where is the will of the people in all of this? Where is the accountability to the people who voted for him? The past 2 years have been stagnant in terms of development in Rivers State because it's been one political issue after the other. However, if you look at it from a political strategy perspective, especially after the statements we saw from the minister of the FCT at the beginning of the week, where he will deliver Rivers State, almost as the alpha and omega of the Rivers State. Well, this is President Tinubu also just reminding him that there's not one alpha and omega in Rivers State. Yes. Don't forget that there's somebody waiting in the corridors of power who is sitting at the throne currently, and based on that might be able to also check and balance your own influence in the state. So, gosh, it's all games that are being played. My heart just bleeds for the people of Rivers State who still need governance.
Rivers State. I mean, Rufai, we did see Governor Wike, I believe it was last month, actually accusing Harass TV of deceiving the governor and making him think that he was... Yes.
He said that?
Live television. He said
really?
it. Yes, he
Harass
did.
TV?
Yes, that he was deceived. Go ahead.
There's no way we could have deceived us.
I was wondering who did. Go ahead.
I don't know, because, I mean, the governor should have a mind of his own. So So you say we deceived the governor. We're probably giving us too much metaphysical power.
Yeah.
So how can we deceive?
What do you make of the optics there, though?
It's a very wrong optics.
Yes.
You know what the optics reminds me of? It was just like Miranda in Lagos State singing and thanking them after she was pulled out of office. This is bad optics for democracy. Let's call it speed is speed. In fact, this is one of the saddest days for democracy with these optics. A president that committed a constitutional aberration took an elected governor out by the people, trounced on the rights of an elected governor. Then you, Fubara, because you want the power so much, you are going to beg. How much will you beg? So people like this, when they slap you, when they cut your head, you will beg.
But you know, he did say that he wants peace.
What
so
peace?
He's trying
what peace?
Yeah, that
what
was his
peace?
last comment.
What peace? What peace?
Peace for the people.
Peace is earned through respect and war. Sometimes you have to sit down and fight. Mm-hmm. If you have to lose, you have to lose. In the end, isn't Fubara going to live there? Is he going to be governor forever?
No.
So in the end, you are still going to leave the position rather than somebody just trounce on your right like that and you look and you keep going to beg the same person that removed you from the mandate of the people. And you say, this is optics. And he's saying, oh, the other day he said, what did the Fubara say? He said, my mind is living there. But obviously your mind has not left there. Mm-mm. If they did state of emergency against you, what you should do is bid your time. After, if they don't give you back, so be it. But he also has something to lose, and it has shown. Oji, you need to stand for. So why do we praise President Tinubu today as last man standing? President Tinubu, if the script were flipped, would never. The President Tinubu, and I know, and I give him his respect today. I don't agree with me on many things, but I respect that man called President Tinubu. If the tables turn, the President Tinubu, I know, will never cower. And that's why I respect it. That's why it was called last man standing. He will never cower.
Right.
He will never grovel.
Jagaban.
He will Jagaban.
All right.
Jagaban.
All right.
He will stand on his rights. And that's what we expected Fubara to do. You thought it was easy for President Tinubu to fight the might of the central government like Olusegun Obasanjo and the character like Olusegun Obasanjo then. It wasn't easy for him. But he stood his ground. You thought it was easy for him to stay in opposition all these years and fight the might of the PDP before he finally gained one against it. Give him his credit. I'm giving him his credit when it doesn't mean I will not criticize him tomorrow. I'm giving him his credit today. Right. If the tables were turned, President Tinubu will not do this. It's Tinubu I know. And that's why I respect him.
In any case, we don't have a readout of the content of their meeting. We are just assuming that given the circumstances in Rivers State and the declaration of state of emergency, that the reason they went there to see President Tinubu, first time we will see the two of them together since this crisis began. So we assume that you cannot leave the place without talking about the state of emergency. Mm-hmm. Suppose he just went there to just greet the president in the spirit of Salah, and maybe Rivers State of emergency was not discussed. But okay, you can say it's the unspoken subtext. Right. I mean, you can't just go, I hear you in Lagos, sir.
Well, there's a story that he met him in London too now, so and there was this Dobale thing going on.
We don't have a
well.
readout.
Yes,
we don't have a readout of what transpired.
Yes.
So we can only...
As what? He's a suspended governor.
Interesting times.
He's still the governor of the
people.
Do
you know how many more weeks we have to wait for this suspension to be lifted? Is it already 6 months? I keep asking every time.
No, it's in September.
March, September.
The
okay,
state of emergency was March 18,
So we have
2025.
a few more months to go. Well, we'll continue to follow up on the story as always. Well, President Bola Tinubu
is beginning to enjoy it.
Where?
Who is that?
the sole administrator.
You were going to say that.
I said it.
Wasn't it his wife that was...
You have to go and greet the president. Please, I'm still here. That man is beginning to over-enjoy the place.
It's a case of the Lord has done it finally. finally. The Lord has done it.
He never expected it.
Never expected it.
Well, all right. Well, in the meantime, President Bola Tinubu also hosted Governor Ademola Adeliki of Osun State, along with his elder brother, billionaire businessman Adedeji Adeliki, and Afrobeat superstar Davido, at his Lagos residence. Photos of the meetings have since gone viral on social media. Governor Adeleke shared the photos on his X account, stating that the visit was a courtesy call ahead of the Salah celebration. The presence of Davido at the meeting garnered significant public interest and was seen by many as a symbolic moment of unity and intergeneration bridging. Some described the meeting as reflective of President Tinubu's inclusive approach to engaging with leaders across political divide. And this is what Rufai was talking about Tinubu and, the way that he handles his politics. We know that Governor Adeliki is of the PDP, but he has absolutely maintained a cordial relationship with the presidency. This picture has sparked a lot of reactions online. Dr. Amaechi.
No, talking about optics again.
Yes.
We may just apply the same rule about assumptions that we, applied to the case of Fubara, governor of Rivers State, in Osun State case.
Yes.
Now, Osun State has a major issue with the federal government of Nigeria. The federal government of Nigeria has withheld local government allocations to Osun State for the months of April, May, June. And Osun State has since gone to the Supreme Court to say that in the light of Section 162 of the Constitution, although there is also another Supreme Court judgment, that the federal government cannot withhold allocations to Osun State local councils. The issue is about, is it the APC that is the legitimate, that provides the legitimate council chairman, or is it the PDP, the November 22 local government election, or the 2025 local council election organized by the PDP under Governor Adeliki? The matter went to the Court of Appeal. Now, different interpretations on both sides as to who should be the legitimate local council chairman. So he also has a matter that he will just carry his elder brother, take his nephew, and in the spirit of Salah, they said they went there, courtesy call for Salah.
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether the issue of that local council thing came up. What the AGF Osun State is citing is the AGF Lagos State versus AG Lagos versus AG Federation in 2004, which involved Governor Tinubu as he then was. And at that time, Lagos State won. Now, another irony here is that in Edo State, they also have local council issues. Is the APC that is in Edo State, right?
Yeah.
Very similar to what you have in Osun. In Edo State, the federal government did not withhold allocations to local councils in Edo State. So, but we don't have a reader, we don't have a statement that this is what they discuss. It's supposed to just be Salah visit. And a lot of people will be going to visit the president for Salah. Now, finally, I also imagine that in the spirit of Salah, I don't know whether Governor Adeliki got a chance to teach the president some dance steps.
How did you know? That was what I was going to ask. I was exactly going to
because
ask.
The president too has been dancing. Maybe they should have taken the opportunity.
With Davido in their
With
midst.
Davido, they have to teach the president some steps.
And he'll be like, then go feel it.
I just want to ask, do you know, maybe, was it a reportage or something around it? This time last year, did Fubara go to visit President Tinubu last year?
Something about him going to London.
To London, yes. That's what I said earlier.
No, I'm saying, did he go last year to visit President Tinubu around
in Lagos?
Oh, you mean during the Salah thing?
The report I saw was that he went to see him in London.
No,
I'm
he's
saying
talking about the
last
Salah.
year.
No, that didn't happen. We don't have a report.
Anyway, during Salah period, all the
just-
governors,
but did it happen
they
last
all come
year?
around. They will soon carry themselves in a
No,
big bus
Dr. Abati, the
and come
question I
and
asked, did it happen
pay
last
homage.
year? Did he
He said he doesn't know now.
Well, I
Fine.
don't have
Let's move
information.
on. Let's move on
Okay,
with
just
that.
asking.
But I mean, I just thought it was a fun visit with the Davido and the Adelikis there.
You don't have insider information.
I need it. I need to.
Do you
No, I
have-
don't. I don't have
Oh,
it.
okay.
At first, when I saw the pictures, I was like, hey, Emma Bamike.
No, but Davido was with the president
But
last
the
week in
Davido was with the
Abuja.
president. So
so-
hopefully he was the one who organized the meeting. It was nice to see. And I'd love to see a video. If there was who's that guy? Cubana chief priest there will have been videos flying around. Well, all right. Kudos, Governor Ademola Adeliki and Davido. Well, in another development, Senator Kalu has accused some Nigerian politicians, wealthy businessmen, and senior civil servants of sponsoring Boko Haram to destabilize President Bola Tinubu's administration. Kalu made the claims during a televised interview, stating that these individuals are using terrorism as a tool to fight Tinubu and seize political power, similar to their actions against previous governments. Let's take a look.
Political class are bringing Boko Haram. Political class are bringing terrorism to fight Bola Tinubu, to fight Buhari, to fight people. They are the one bringing these things. It's the political war that are causing all these things. People want power. They want to destroy the whole system to grab power. And you don't grab power this way. Politicians and businessmen and civil servants, people who are dissatisfied with the running of government, people who want to grab power. You just hear what so many people say. People, some of them are not looking for money. Some of them are looking for political power to hold it. So we are all friends, as I told you before. I want all of us to behave like friends. If we are friends, we should think about the man down the line. We should be able to lift Nigerians up.
Well, Kalu has been talking a lot lately. I mean, now we are seeing him. He's not the first politician who has accused politicians and, wealthy businessmen of sponsoring Boko Haram. But this rhetoric is quite old. I mean, this is not the sort of engagement that we want to keep hearing. We need to find out who they are. If they are, provide proof. I mean, just stop saying it, just blanket statements like that. Dr. Abati, I'd like for your comment before I take this story in Delta State on this.
No, you've already hit the nail on the head by saying that, look, we have been hearing this over and over again, that certain influential persons are behind Boko Haram and that they sponsor Boko Haram. And there are persons who even ethnicize it, that Boko Haram seems to flower when any Southerner is in power. Just as you only have frenetic coalition politics when a Southerner is president. When a Northerner is there, you don't hear any coalition to remove the Northerner from power. So you have these, speculations. Don't let us be categorical. But the thing is that in a country that has intelligence agencies, it should be possible for people to be identified. Who are those powerful people behind Boko Haram? Who are the people sponsoring them? We have a financial intelligence unit. They track, a movement of illicit international financial flow. There's something like that, and there's a structure for that. Okay, why can't they identify those people that pass money to the insurgents, to the bandits, to the terrorists? And why, is it that the other security agencies have not been able to identify these sponsors? Otherwise, it will amount to scaremongering.
Yes, this is what
Nigerians want is peace, security. They want to be able to sleep with two eyes closed, whether it's in Maiduguri or in the Middle Belt or in Owerri, in Imo State, or where's that village? In Cross River State. So that, we can all feel very secure in this environment.
That's all we need.
So
security.
All this, some people are sponsoring, some people are sponsoring. Are those people ghosts? Identify them and bring them to task for their criminality.
Absolutely. Well, in the meantime, speaking about security, tensions escalated in Abraka, Delta State on Monday as security agents allegedly opened fire on unarmed residents protesting a surge in kidnappings that has rocked the university town. The protest, now in its sixth consecutive day, had remained peaceful until the arrival of heavy armed security personnel, including soldiers and police officers. Eyewitnesses say the agents fired warning shots in an attempt to disperse the crowd, sparking panic and injuries. Let's take a look. This is unfortunate. The right to protest, like we always say on this table, is our fundamental right. I mean, these students from different schools, they've been protesting the spate of kidnappings. Instead of our security forces to help them or even secure them or try to, speak with them, you shoot. Thankfully, there's not been any reported deaths, Vimbai.
I mean, unarmed young people who are protesting for a very a very deserving cause. This is sad to see, especially as we're talking about insecurity. We spoke about how the Chief of Army Staff is having to relocate from different places in the country to other places because he needs to be closer to the theater of where things are actually happening. And then you have some bad apples in the military service who are misbehaving in this way. I know Dr. Abasi earlier had made the point that, well, if it seems they're less busy. If they're less busy, they should take them, they're trigger happy, right? Yes. So they should take them right to the theater of war where the action is happening so they can fire these bullets to the people who deserve to receive them. But this is totally unethical. This is unfair. We really need to review our culture around how we address protests because it's turning into a culture. It's repetitive. We see it in different places at different degrees, but it's there to the point that many people are now afraid to protest. And that is not a mark of a thriving democracy. However, I do hope that the necessary hierarchy in the military have noted this, that these soldiers will be disciplined. We know that the army is all about discipline and following the code of conduct. And, if they are less busy, like I said, take them to various areas. We have a list of places where they can go and be kept very actively engaged and they can fire bullets and, if that's what really excites them, because this is not fair.
Well said, Bimbai. We are waiting response from the army. Our students need protection.
Those soldiers should recognize that the right to protest is a constitutional right.
Yes.
Number two, why are we always using soldiers to do police work? When you use soldiers to do police work, a soldier will not waste bullets. They will tell you that a bullet is very expensive. They are trained to kill, not to maim people. The police should be allowed to do their work. And finally, the Chief of Army Staff, who is fighting terror and leading from the front, should identify those soldiers.
Absolutely.
I recommend that they should be posted to Benue or to Sambisa Forest or to go and fight eastward, since they like to carry guns and harass people. Let them go and fight in real battle, not disturbing students who are exercising their constitutional rights.
Their constitutional rights. Our students need protection. We'll take another story now. The scheduled arraignment for Senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpabio, which was set for Tuesday, June 3rd, has been stalled by the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria's Strike Action. Akpabio was set to be arraigned before the Federal High Court on charges of criminal defamation filed by the federal government. The charges accuse Akpabio of making defamatory statements during a live television program on April 3rd, 2025. She's alleged to have claimed that Senate President Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello discussed plans to assassinate her. Akpabio doubled down on her claims in a recent interview, stating that her suspension from the Nigerian Senate was prescripted, politically motivated, and designed to silence her. She also claimed that Senate President Akpabio asked her to harass ministers and heads of agencies in exchange for kickbacks and favors for his personal benefit. She spoke with Adeola Faihun. Let's take a look.
So at one of those gatherings, he then went, Senator Uduaha, you haven't reported progress. And I was like, reported progress? He said, yes, that I'm supposed to report progress. So I said, okay, give me a few days, I'll report progress. He said, fine. So I went later on, made a PowerPoint presentation of my activities as the chair then, the meetings we've held, the timeline of events, the action plans. And then I went back to him and I was like, okay, sir, I'm ready to tender my progress report. And then he went, okay, where is it? And then I opened my laptop and I was like, okay, this is it. And he laughed. And I was like, oh, why are you laughing, sir? He said, don't I know the meaning of reporting progress? And I said, I thought it's to give you a feedback on my activities so far. And then he now referred me to a senior senator. He said, why don't you go meet this person? I later on went to the Senate president. I was like, sir, I understand what report progress means, but unfortunately, I can't do that. I also told my husband that I was like, wow, so it means it's more like you extort or harass so that you can pacify or parley the Senate president in order to keep your position. So I didn't do that. And he later, a number of times, he was like, Natasha, if you don't know how to harass the chairman, that means you don't, if you don't know how to harass the ministers, that and the executive secretary of local content, that means you're not capable of running the committee. So that means to the Senate President Akpabio, deliverables are not tied to objectivity and performance. It's more like what returns come to him.
All right, this is another loaded allegation by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. I mean, there's been conversation whether or not she was allowed to grant this sort of interview. I know that there is a gag order on conversations surrounding her defamation lawsuit. I guess since the judiciary workers' strike has been called off following the intervention of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, there will be a new date for her arraignment, and the arraignment is still pending. But there's a lot of moving parts to some of the allegations that she made here. As we've said always, the case is in court. We'll continue to follow up on the story. Shall we take our good news report now? On Tuesday, June 3rd, in a significant show of appreciation, President Bola Tinubu conferred Nigeria's third highest national honor, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, on billionaire philanthropist and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. President Bola Tinubu presented the Medal of Honor to Gates in Lagos, with Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, also in attendance. The award recognizes Gates' significant contributions to global health, education, and poverty elevation, particularly through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which has made substantial investments in Nigeria. The honor follows the Gates Foundation's announcement of a $200 billion commitment over the next 20 years to advance progress in saving and improving lives, with a significant portion of that funding earmarked for Africa. President Tinubu described Gates' efforts as a model of global citizenship and compassion. Let's take a look.
All I need to say is thank you, Bill Gates, for your indivisible commitment to humanity. It is highly remarkable. It's an inspiration to leadership across the world, including the one standing before you. I thank you very much. That's all. It's a great thing to have to honor you.
What an amazing honor. The Gates Foundation has a long history of working with African partners to improve health outcomes, develop vaccines, and strengthen systems, contributing to saving over 80 million lives through initiatives like Gavi and the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. This is such an amazing news. I know that Gates is here for other initiatives as well. Everyone has congratulated him, including Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote.
I think it feels really very great, at least we, government of Nigeria, recognize what, what he has actually done. In the last couple of years, he has spent about $2 billion. And we jointly have committed quite a lot of money to spend fighting polio, malaria, and maternal health. He's done very well. I think he deserves what he got, which is CFR.
We all congratulate him here. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending. Thank you so much. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.